there. It's Brenda again. In my consideration of writing, particularly of writing emails, I've had to really stop and think about, for whom am I writing this? And I've realized that if we're going to write emails that are conversational, that engage and include readers, then we have to write for the reader. Many of us were taught to write in an era where we didn't actually write for the reader, we wrote for the writer. And when you think about that, a little example would be, were you ever given an assignment in school and you asked the teacher, how long does it have to be? And very often the teachers were good about it. They would say, well, it needs to be 2,100 words or it needs to be 2,500 words. And so you would write down all of your research and you'd realize that, oh, wait, I only have 1,700 words. And so what did you do? Well, you padded and you added and you maybe repeated yourself or put some ideas down there twice, because the key outcome was to get to 2,100 or 2,500 words. You didn't actually add content. And so what were you doing? Well, you were writing to meet the goals that as a writer you had, which was to meet the quantity requirement. And as we very well know, quantity was not always about quality. I clearly remember writing essays where I used to say, therefore, if you look closely at the above given information, you will find that it clearly indicates. Now that's about 12 or 13 words, and I haven't said a thing yet. And I could probably fit that in 2 or 3 times in your average essay. Because when we were writing for quantity, to meet the needs of having enough words, we weren't thinking about the reader, we were thinking about the writer. The other thing that we did was we tried to impress with big words rather than express with clear, easy words. And so some of us even suffered from thesaurus-itis. That's when you used your thesaurus to look up big words to replace small ones. In fact, we got to the point where the word use was just not enough. Instead of use, we tried to use utilize or utilization. We never wanted to say we'll end the project. We instead said we'll terminate the project, or we'll determine a termination date for the project. And we became experts at writing long. When we write long, we're not thinking about the reader. We're thinking about having enough words to meet the needs of the writer. And so I've started to ask people in my workshops and seminars, why are you writing this? What is your goal? What is your outcome? And if indeed the outcome is for somebody to be able to read and understand it, then we'd be writing for the reader. And so here's what I often say to people. I think that when, as a reader, I pick up a document, I should be able to read it once, understand it at the first reading, be able to think about it and talk about it after I've read it, perhaps make a decision based on what I've read, and be able to remember what it is that I've read. And when I can do that, I'm looking at a document that was written for the reader, not for the writer. And so I've started to ask people, let's think before we sit down to write. Am I writing with the goal in mind of being read by a reader, or am I writing with the goal in mind of meeting my own needs as a writer? It's a very important question to ask. And when your answer is, I'm writing for the reader, then it will challenge you to write in ways that the reader can indeed read it once, understand it at the first reading, be able to think and talk about it afterwards, perhaps make a decision on it, and remember it when they come back to it. That's an interesting thought. Write for the reader.